So we've got Prey. Prey is awesome. If you haven't seen it, you should. Spoiler alert, blah, 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 blah. You know the drill, talking about the movie, it's going to be spoiled, etc. Stop the video, whatever. Okay, that's out of the way. So, as far as like legacy sequels go, or is that what it's called when you do like a sequel to a movie from like the 80s or 70s or 90s, and it's been like a big ass span between, you know, the most recent film in the series and the new one? Well, anyway, this is one of the best of those that I've seen probably ever. Yeah, honestly, love this movie. So, I'll gush a little bit after I get the main story out of the way. So, essentially, you got this Comanche woman, I believe they're Comanche. Her name's Naru, and she's wanting to be a hunter. That's like what her passion is. She wants to run with her brother, who is one of the well-known up-and-coming hunters of the tribe there. So she wants to prove herself in the same way that her brother already kind of has. So she's practicing her stuff. She's, you know, throwing her tomahawk around. She's got pretty good aim, to be fair. She's throwing at a tree and whatnot. And then there's this loud noise. Well, she's throwing the tomahawk. Sorry, wow, I'm already messing this up. She's throwing the tomahawk, then she stops. There's a deer. She's like, okay, let's get this deer. It's not, you know, anything crazy, but it'll provide us with food, and, you know, maybe I'll be appreciated for my efforts a little bit. So she's ready to get it, and she's pretty much, the deer doesn't see her coming at all, so she's good. But at that point, there's a loud noise that goes overhead and flies over, spooks the deer. Deer runs. She's gotta go find the deer. But her dog gets stuck in like a metal trap. So she has to cut the chase short and tend to her dog's wound, which she does. She has a little medicine pouch with her and puts it on the dog's tail, and the dog's like happy to be free again and whatnot. And anyway, the noise overhead happens again, and she looks up, and the clouds are rippling, and there's like a light flying through the clouds. And she takes this to be a thunderbird, which is a really neat idea too. So she goes back, and like her brother and them are hunting, and it's a sign that she wants to do. I can't remember the word they use, but it's the term they use, I guess, to like break a hunter into like being officially like good, is to hunt something that's hunting you. So she takes this as a sign, and she says it to her brother, and her brother's like, you want to hunt? And she's like, what, you think I can't, motherfucker? No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so at this point, there's a cougar that has been spotted. They're referring to as a lion, mountain lion, whatever, that has either killed or injured one of their village members, and they're going to go out, basically find the person. If they find the cougar, kill it, whatever. All of this is happening. The predator is dropped off by his ship, and the ship takes off, and you see him standing over a cliff looking over like the absolutely gorgeous landscape. They say this takes place at like the edge of the Great Plains, the northern Great Plains. So I'm gonna guess that it's like Alberta, maybe? That's my theory. Like, it looks like the Rockies, but not like the crazy Rockies of like BC, but like the foot. Maybe it's what states are the Rockies? I don't even know. Jeez, but it's the Great Plains, so I'm assuming like Alberta or Montana or something. I don't know if Montana has mountains. Like, I don't know. But anyway, whatever. I'm just gonna say it's Alberta because it looks like it. Gorgeous scenery, whatever. So, okay, so she is told basically, no, you're not coming on this hunt, but she follows anyway because, you know, rebellious young lady. And she does. And all the hunting party is kind of like, what the hell are you doing here? And her brother kind of sticks up for her. Toby, her brother, is like, listen, she knows how to track, and she knows medicine, so she'll be actually pretty useful. She should come with us. If we do find Buddy Boy, who was injured or killed by the cougar or whatever, if he's still alive, she could potentially save him. And they're like, alright, okay, that makes sense. So they go, and they find they're tracking, and she finds these tracks and all that, and then they show a scene of a little fly in the air, and then a mouse eating the fly, and then a rattlesnake eating the mouse. So it's like a predator-prey, thing. It's kind of, it sounds cheesy as shit, but it was done pretty cool. And then the snake stops, and it like senses something, and you can see like the predator's camouflage, see-through armor, whatever it is, flickering, and the snake goes to lunge, but predator is right through the snake. So the snake is the first kill of the predator. And Predator skins it, takes its skull as it does to anything that it would usually do. Anyway, as they're heading out, Naru finds the snake beheaded and skinned and the big footprint, and she's like, "Okay, this is what is this?" And they're like, "Is this like a bear? Maybe?" She's like, "Yeah, but why was it? It's a big ass bear, first of all, and why was it on its hind legs and?" What kind of animal skins a snake like that? So she's not thinking bear, clearly. She says that it reminds her of, I don't know the term she used, but they're like, oh yeah, a monster from like our childhood stories. And she's like, well, it's something, and it's clearly not a bear or a cougar or whatever. But they end up... There is a cougar there. They find their buddy chewed up pretty bad, to be fair. She applies medicine to him. She has this, like a flower herb that will cool his temperature down and stop the blood from flowing as much or whatever, and all that. So essentially, like, they can get him back to the village. So they all build like a little stretcher thing, which is a process because by the time they finish, it's starting to get dark already, and they're bringing the guy back. And at this point, Tabe's like, okay, so you guys bring him back. I gotta find the cat because, this is dangerous. And Naru is like, okay, but like, what scared the cat away from its den? You know what I mean? Like, something else is out there. And Tabe's like, okay, well, if we find that, we'll kill it too, which, noble. Yeah, then there's the scene with the cougar. So the cougar does approach, and Naru's plan is actually pretty smart. So her and Buddy hide up in a tree while Tabe, I guess, scouts about, and this one guy in the tree is going on about how she shouldn't be out there. She's not a hunter. Basically, a little bit of like dickish comments, male chauvinistic, maybe a little bit, we'll say. And so he gets picked off by the coug. So that was good. Just as he's telling her that she like isn't a hunter, he gets pegged off. He's like, leave it to the men or something along those lines. It's ridiculous. And yeah, coug gets him, so that's cool. Anyway, then the cougar's on the tree, and it's kind of like looking at Naru, like, okay, you're next. And she's like, ah, shit. And she has her little tomahawk ready, and she had made, I don't know if it's at this point or later in the film, but she made like a custom rope that attached her tomahawk so she could throw it and then pull it and get her tomahawk back like way faster than running over and grabbing it, or if she misses, she can. So pretty ingenious. Good job on her. Quite creative young lassie. Anyway, so she faces off against this coug, and she ends up slipping off the tree and smacking her head, and she's out, and she wakes up back at the village, and apparently her brother had to carry her all the way back and essentially saved her, and so it's kind of like, oh, well, shit. I guess I'm not so hot shit after all. But she's determined. She's like, he needs me. I need to go back out there, and like, you need to rest. And she's like, no, he needs help. And he's like, listen, if he needed you, he wouldn't have brought you back. She's like, oh. Okay, well, that's fine. Anyway, Tabe ends up coming back, carrying the coug over his shoulder and the cougar's head in his hand, and blood, like, ritualistically smeared. I guess that was his first hunt the hunter thing or whatever, so he got to do it before she did. But, I mean, he's more experienced, so it makes sense that he was able to do it at that point, right? But she's a little bit disheartened, and they kind of have a little chat, and he says, listen, or she says to him, we got to get back out there. There's still something out there. And he's like, yeah, and I'll deal with it. Listen, You tried, and you almost got yourself killed. I had to bring you back. Like, you're... And you can tell he's kind of sad. Like, he must have been kind of cheering on his sister or whatever, but facing the reality of the situation, she did not take home the prize. She fell, and she could have died if he wasn't there, and she's kind of like... Fair. Anyway, she's determined. She goes off on her own. She doesn't give a shit. The next morning, early, as most of the village is asleep, a few people see her leave, but most of the village is asleep, and she sneaks out. She takes her dog, and they go, you go on a little trek into the mountains. So that's where she saw the Thunderbird go, so I guess that's where she's going. And yeah, the Thunderbird's the ship, obviously. I don't remember if I said that, but I mean, yeah. But again, that's a really cool way of making her, like, relate it to something of her culture. So that was neat. Yeah, then there's a scene where the predator gets its next up on the food chain. They show a rabbit sitting there, and then they see a wolf slowly stalking up the rabbit. Wolf grabs the rabbit, starts to run off with it, gets knocked the hell over by an invisible thing, and wolf is pissed off. It's growling like, what the hell is this? And I guess it can kind of see the predator's camouflage or whatever, or the shape of it or something. I don't know if, like, I think dogs have, like, gray vision or something like that, or, like, brown vision or something, but maybe for whatever reason that helps it pick out its thing of the camouflage, because it gets a really good-ass bite on the predator's leg, but then that's it. That's all it gets, and then it's toast. Predator rips out its spine and its head and brings it back to its cave and burns off all its skin and attaches the wolf skull to his belt as a trophy. He's like, there we go. The snake was cool and all, but this was like an actual victory. This thing, like, actually hurt me a little bit. Couldn't have killed him, but I mean, it fought valiantly enough to be worth a trophy. So there we go. Predator's got a taste for earth predators as prey now. So that's fun. Right, okay, and then after this, that's at the point where Naru fastens the rope to her tomahawk and does that kind of like... She's hunting something crazy, right? So she's wanting to be prepared. Later on, she ends up, like, landing in quicksand, and she uses this tomahawk to, like, pull herself out by putting it around, like, a root system and gets stuck, and she, like, barely escapes the quicksand, so... Again, quick thinking, good on you. You know what? She probably would be a good hunter, just no one trained her or took her, so I mean, how is that her fault, right? But at another point she comes across this field, and there are like an entire field of buffalo massacred, only the skin taken, all the meat left there, and like in a lot of these First Nation or Aboriginal or Native American cultures, they use every part of the animal, and that's like part of their thing. Like, life is sacred. We need it to, you know, do these things, but we make sure we make it worth it, every single thing, and they do a little prayer. And that's what she does. She does a little prayer on the bison, one of the bison at the front of the herd, and like puts her hand on it and everything, because it's, yeah, I mean, they're beautiful creatures and whatnot. And I mean, I know you could probably argue like, oh, they're killing them anyway, but I mean, anyway, I'm not going to get into that whole thing. That's a whole can of worms that I'm not wanting to open. But yeah, and then she finds by the buffalo corpse a bullet casing. She's like, okay, that's interesting. Or it looked like a bullet casing, or something like that. I don't know if they had like, yeah, it must have been a rifle casing. They had rifles. A lot of the stuff they were using was flintlock, so maybe it was like a black powder case or something. I don't know. It looked like a bullet casing though, so whatever. Maybe rifles had bullets at that time. I don't know. I don't know much about the time period. It doesn't say what year it is, so let's just assume that they do. All right, cool. Moving along, she finds that she spots a bear at one point later on by the river, and it's eating a deer, and she's like, okay, that's not great. And the wind blows her scent, and she realizes it as the bear starts sniffing, and it's like, okay, the bear is aware of where she is now. That is not good. And it's a big-ass grizzly, not like a black bear or something. Well, a black bear would kill you too, but like... I mean, a trained hunter might be able to one-on-one a black bear, but a grizzly's a whole other animal. So it smells her. It's roaring. It knows she's there. It's looking around. It sees a way up the side of the hill to where she is, and oh shit, it's coming. She pulls out her bow quickly, and unfortunately from the quicksand, her bow is still wet, so the string snaps off of it, and she's quickly trying to reattach it, and the bear is now charging, like, visibly up the hill towards her. Luckily, her good little dog, her doge, runs off and distracts the bear. The bear follows the dog, and she has time to try to... She fixes her bow, and she jumps down with her ready to go, like, where is it? And... it's gone. But then you see the dog run out from around the corner back towards her, and sure enough, the bear is following that dog. If you don't know, bears are fast as hell. Humans cannot outrun a bear. I don't think a dog can outrun a bear. Maybe deer can outrun a bear, but bears are incredibly fast for something as bulky as they are. So being chased by a bear, you're dead if it wants to kill you. That's just the way it is. So she's in panic mode here. She quickly dives into the river, sees a beaver dam, goes under and up into the beaver dam, and the bear knows where she is, can smell her through the wood, and is like trying to break through this beaver dam when suddenly Predator shows up. And one of the coolest scenes in the movie, Predator versus grizzly bear, and it is awesome. Sorry, I'm really enthusiastic because I love this scene. The bear could have won, too. That's the thing. Like, the bear is bigger than the Predator, and, you know, the Predator does tackle it, but the bear is fast, and it's powerful, and it's on the Predator before it can get any of its weapons out. And it looks like it kills it. Like, there's blood and everything, and Predator goes down and doesn't move, and the bear stands up and roars and turns. But the Predator, if it would have finished the job, there wouldn't have been a movie, so they're not going to have the bear win. Give me a break. But had the bear not turned around, it probably would have killed the Predator, which, without weapons, I could see that. It was really cool. It just shows how powerful bears are. They're crazy animals. Godless killing machines, to quote, I think it was Conan O'Brien. They're not. But anyway, bear turns around, charges the Predator. Predator says, no, I don't think so. Punches it, kind of stuns it enough as it falls down, and it's kind of like, and its head smashes through the beaver dam right beside Naru, who's like, oh my god, what am I watching? And then it lifts the bear over its head and I guess stabs it, and blood is pouring down over its body. And this is the first time that Naru gets a visual of what this thing actually is, because the blood is falling on its like camouflage, showing the shape of the creature. And she's like, oh my god, it's a freaking demon or something. So that's fun. She bolts, uses the river to get the hell out of here. It does see her and everything, but she gets away. So that happens. But yes, bear scene, very cool. What else? She ends up finding her search party that her brother had organized. Brothers with the other search party, there's two of them, but she tells them what she saw, and they're like, okay, whatevs. And that's when the Predator shows up and kills the leader, I guess you could say, of that little search party, who's the cockiest one out of the bunch of them too, so I didn't feel bad about him dying at all. The other two, however, put up a pretty good fight, considering the huge size difference and everything. Like, they're obviously hunters because they're fast, they're quick, they can dodge attacks, they get a few good shots in, but unfortunately, Predator takes them out one by one, and that's the end of that. So the leader guy had grabbed Naru's tomahawk thing, so as the other two of the party are fighting the Predator, she grabs her thing back, and unfortunately, yeah, they're toast. Cuts one's arm off, but like, props to them for putting up as much as a fight as they did for just like two guys. So good on them. Anyway, at this point, Naru's running, the Predator's on her tail, and she ends up stepping in a metal trap, and she's hurt. Predator comes up, looks at her, grabs the chain, looks at her, I guess it's an injured thing, it's not worth killing, so it frigs off. And that's where the French explorers, the French, what are they called? Not conquistadors. Colonial French, whatever, find her. I guess they're maybe voyageurs or something, I don't know. But anyway, they find her and they take her, and there's like one translator guy who's trying to say, listen, I know what you saw and you should help us. Because apparently that group of the French colonials are trying to kill this thing as well, because they must have seen it also. So that's why I guess they're in the area. I don't really know. But anyway, they're all dinks. Like, they're... The translator guy seems alright. He seems okay. He's, like, actually talking kind of nice to her. They have her brother, too. They have Tabe, and they, like, cut his chest. And they have the dog tied up and muzzled, and it's all around not a good scene. But that's okay, because Predator shows up and massacres the French encampment, like, pretty badly. He takes a lot of damage, to be fair, because there are a lot of guns, and there are a lot of members of this. Like, I swear, there's probably, like, I don't know, 2 dozen, 3 dozen colonials there. Like, yeah, it's nuts. Initially, okay, so what happens is they tie up Tabe and Naru to a tree to lure the Predator to them, thinking that it's just, you know, it's just a predator or whatever, but it's looking for the hunt. It's not looking for bait. And Naru knows that. She tells Tabe, like, listen, they're using us as bait. It's not going to want us. We're not a threat, so it doesn't want to hunt us. Which is kind of in turn mirroring both of their journeys. Like, Tabe recently hunted the hunter, and she is wanting to hunt the hunter. So that's kind of cool that it kind of mirrors that a little bit. Anyway, yeah, like I said, they're in, like, a burnt down forest. So there's, like, smoke thick in the air, and all the trees are, like, barren, just sticks and everything. It's a really cool environment. Excellent cinematography in that part. But yeah, Predator just goes nuts. They do get some good shots on it, though. Like, they damage its shield a little bit, and there's, like, the Predator bleeds a lot. But he takes them down. Like, he knows what's up. He uses his little targeting thing, and, like, the bolts go flying, and Naru's looking at it like, what the hell is going on here? She doesn't know what lasers are, right? But anyway, she's seeing all this thing, and then there's, like, he leaves a little, like, beep, 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 beep thing, but it's not like a huge explosion, but these little discs fly out, and they, like, chase and, like, boom, little mini explosions, and he uses his spear and all that stuff, and his shield. He has, like, a unfolding shield that he's blocking most of the bullets. That's why he's not dead, because if he didn't have that, the amount of shots, even though they're like flintlock pistols and rifles, enough of them are going to kill him. But nope, he has that, and he takes them all out pretty much. There's a very, very few left in the encampment later that Naru finds, and I think there's like 4 or 5 of them, and mirroring the Predator's ridiculous overcoming of numbers, she manages to take out these 5 guys. And that's when the translator comes up, and he's missing a leg. I guess the Predator, with his disc thing, might have cut his leg off or something in the fray, or I don't know. But he's like, help me, help me, help me. And he's holding his gun, and she's like, you drop the gun and we'll talk. And he's like, yes, okay. If you help me, I'll teach you how to use this. And she's like, okay. That's a pretty good deal. You're on. So she gives him some of that herb that, like, cools him down and slows the blood flow so he doesn't bleed out, and she's kind of tending to his wound, and he's explaining to her, like, okay, so what you do is you take the rod, you put the pellet in, you push this down, you open this, you put the powder in, not too much and not too little, it has to be, like, perfect. Then you put that, and you pull this back, and whatever. She's like, that's it? I thought it was way more complicated. And he's like, no, it's pretty chill. Anyway, the thinning of the blood, or the cooling of the blood, ends up working very briefly for this guy, because that's when the Predator comes. And Naru hides, and the Predator cannot see this guy, and she sees him looking, even though the guy's right there. He's lying still, granted, but he's breathing. Like, you should be able to see his chest, but because his blood is cooled, and they use thermal vision, no dice. So, oh geez, this is gonna be a long one. Sorry, guys. I'll try to speed it up. So anyway, sees this guy, ends up stepping on him when he screams out, and that's how he sees him and kills the guy. And then Naru's like, okay, I get it now. These herbs will make whatever they do to my blood makes it so that he can't see us. So that's cool. We'll use that to our advantage later. Then what happens after that? Anyway, she meets her and Tabe escape, and they're running, and Predator, he says, okay, I'm gonna go get the horses or whatever, and she bolts. And Predator catches up to her, and he's about to take her down, and that's when, like, he has his little beep, 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 little laser thing on his helmet, whatever it's called. And that's when Tommy comes with a club on a horse and smacks the helmet right off this Predator, knocks him down, flips over him, and shoves a spear right through his chest. Like, your brother's badass, Naru. I'll give you that. He's pretty cool. And he puts up a very good fight as well. Unfortunately, he is eventually killed. He looks at her and he's like, run. I am the threat. He does not see you as a threat. My journey ends here. You can get away. She has the gun aimed at the Predator, and she tried to fire it at the Predator once before, and like it didn't work, so she has the right amount of powder in it and whatever, and she's ready to shoot at the Predator, but it's... Predator sees her, and she's like kind of frozen there, and Tabe grabs like the wolf skull off of the Predator's leg and like rams the teeth into it, distracting it. Then he's finished off, but that gives her enough time to take off. So she goes on. She's setting traps. She's got like a tree with like sharpened sticks on it, and utilizes traps and everything. So the Predator, it kind of falls right into her trap a little bit. Falls in the quicksand, and unfortunately it's really big and really powerful, so it stands up and like slowly starts coming out of the quicksand. It hits on a trap there and all that too, and it chases her and it lunges at her, and she moves out of the way, and it gets cut by those spikes or whatever, and she's kind of hiding from it, and at one point she like shoots it point blank in the back of the head with the flintlock gun, and its helmet thing flies off. That was, I think, during the encampment scene, I can't remember, but she ends up taking the helmet and setting it up as a trap, which ultimately, after everything, ends up, she lures the Predator with a French guy who she finds, and she like lights a bonfire so the Predator will see light and be attracted to it and know someone's there, and gives him a gun and everything, like a non-loaded gun, but gives him a gun, and she's ingests some of that herb, so she is invisible, and he's aiming the gun, and she's like, you don't know it, do you? But I'm basically killing you right now. And the thing is, neither does he. And she motions to the Predator, who's walking up behind her. Can't see her because her blood's cold. Anyway, walks right past her. She like slowly steps aside, and guy fires the gun, but it doesn't go because it's nothing. And anyway, that's at that point it kills this guy, and she fires point blank to the back of his head, like I said, and this thing flies away. Anyway. Fast forward, we're back to where we were before. So all these traps she has, his helmet set up, so his little wrist-mounted gun thing is controlled by the targeting system of the helmet, but she's standing right in front of the helmet so that when he shoots, she goes like that quickly and it flies away, but the helmet is now aiming directly at the Predator, right into the Predator, and that's the end of that. And then she comes back to her village, and she's holding the Predator's head, and has the Predator's glowing green blood smeared on her face, mirroring the image of her brother when he came home with the cougar and had the cougar head and the blood and all that. And basically she says, there's danger nearby, we need to relocate. But she's not talking about the Predator. She's talking about the French colonials, which, yeah, fair. One Predator's bad, but if you know history, you know what happened with the colonials in North America. So anyway, that's the movie. And then the credits roll, and they have like painted art depicting the events of the movie. So, very good movie. This is how you write a strong, independent female character. She isn't like, what's the term that they like? Ray and Captain Marvel, Mary Sue. Okay, she's not a Mary Sue. So she's not good at everything all the time right away off the bat, better than everyone else who's been doing it for years. She fails a couple times. She learns from her mistakes. She evolves after each failure or whatever, but she remains strong, and she remains very capable regardless. And it's a lot more fun to watch a character like that learn and improve themselves than just have someone who's good right off the bat. So, yeah, like I said, you want to write a strong female character, that's a perfect example, Naru from Prey. All in all, the movie was absolutely beautifully shot. This cinematography was fantastic. The scenery was gorgeous. Like, it's the northern U.S. or Canadian wilderness, whatever it is. I don't know which it is. It's Alberta, damn it. So the wilderness is absolutely gorgeous. The mountains, the plains, every aspect of it is just stunning. The lighting, the early morning shots where it's like the blue hour and stuff, they nail it. Like, it's really good. The music is solid. The acting is really good. I just love the fact that the time period that they chose to do it in is fantastic. The characters are likable, even the ones that are kind of dickish sometimes. You can tell that it's just like they're young, right? Like, a lot of these hunting parties are like young kids. You know, well, not kids, but like late teens, early 20s and stuff. Like, they just like us. We were dicks when we were young too, so it's just a thing, right? But they're not unlikable. Except for like that one guy who got killed by the cougar, and the other guy, I guess, who was the first one that got killed by the predator from the hunting party. Those guys were a little bit knobbish, but like they're young kids, so it's kind of like, okay, they're not like overtly obnoxiously assholes to be overtly obnoxious assholes. So the writing was really good, everything was solid. Was it better than Pontypool? I think it was better than Pontypool, and I gave that one a really good rating. Would I give it 9 something? What do I feel for Prey? It's really good. I mean, you might not agree with me, but it hit all the notches that I like in a movie. I give it a 9.35. To hell with it. Prey. Well deserving of it. This is my favorite one in the entire Predator series, and I love the original Predator. It's an excellent movie, but this one just nails it, and I don't know if that's sacrilege or if no, it's great. Cannot recommend this one enough. It's on Crave, that's where I watched it, but you can get like DVDs of it and stuff, and it might be on some other services as like a rental, but if you have Crave, you can watch it for free, which is what I did. So check it out. Highly recommended. Yeah, that's about all I have to say. Excellent movie. Alright, peace.